Hey guys, it's Brennan here. It's early morning San Francisco time. There is smoke in the air. Not sure if any of you live in Oregon, but I hope that you're not dealing with the fires that are going on right now. But today is the rebranding of Charlie's and Coffee. So what we want to do is uh, use this space in a couple different ways over each month. So we had the AI party that kind of kicked things off September 6th, and now we're looking to expand on that. So each week there will be the 30-minute session that you have with me. So I will always be here. If not, there will be another member of the founding team or executive team of GoCharlie. But for the most part, you're stuck with me. So sorry. Um, and we are going to use this space for a couple different things. One, obviously, is product demos. We're all learning Charlie's new capabilities, so we're going to be doing more and more product demos throughout this, more targeted sessions. We'll also be looking to bring other experts into this discussion. So people that focus on specific activities that you can do with Charlie, and we'll show how Charlie's enabling them, but also discuss a little bit about their process. So hopefully this will be enlightening to see how others are doing it as well. We also want this to be a space where we could bring in investors or bring in other people with interesting perspective on AI tools, maybe even some other AI founders. So if there's other AI founders that you like and you want to talk with them, bring them into the fold. We love having new friends for Charlie as well. But ultimately, this is intended and always will be a space for you guys to share and learn from us about the product. We know that there's been a whole bunch of things going on with the new launch. We keep pushing new features, new updates. We're addressing more bugs. So continue to use the platform. Let's see where the edge cases might lie. But today I'm going to focus on one of the things that I know many of you use the tool for quite a bit, which is blog writing. Reason I'm going to do this is because I think blog writing really highlights where our product is trying to be different in the market, as well as more of the design philosophy that we talked about yesterday. If you saw that video yesterday, that was me talking through about how the product's going to work. And I know in the initial days, it's very ambitious, but I think over time, it's going to become the most powerful engine that's out there on the market to help you all. So with that, we'll jump into blogs. Thank you to the crowd members that are there. And for those of you that are watching this in replay, it's just great to be back here. Great to be back on a weekly basis with you all. As always, we have questions. Before we jump into the product demo, one thing I wanted to gauge audience interest on was we're considering doing a customer sprint. And what I mean by that is effectively we have the whole founding team on. Everyone that wants to participate can, and they come through and they just fire out, these are all the things that we want. And then we choose kind of a selection of those and build as many of them as we can over a time period. So if you think that that would be something you're interested in, either comment on this or give a thumbs up or a like or something like that so that we know that that's something you're interested in. I know I'm personally excited to do something like that, and I think it'd be really great. The question always is what timing makes sense for something of that nature. We'll also be bringing back some Cyber Monday, Black Friday deals, and we will be going to Product Hunt next Thursday. So your support is always appreciated for initiatives like that. I'm hoping that we can win a triple crown for Product Hunt, but more to come. All right, cool. Let's get into playing with Charlie. So share screen. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Okay, so this is obviously the new product. I'm going to presume that everybody's familiar, but if you're not, this is projects over here. Projects are similar to threads for ChatGPT, but remember, we are not a ChatGPT clone. This, if you weren't aware, there's a search functionality where you can try out some pre-made prompts. We're adding more and more and more and more prompts to this over time, but you have different ones that are based on each category. So more to come on those. But today we're going to focus on blogs. So effectively, what we are going to do with blogs is super simple. So all we're going to do is craft a prompt for writing a blog with Charlie. So what we're going to say is write a blog. It's important to say blog because blog will activate some functionality. We'll get into that in just a moment of why that's important. Then you're going to give your topic. So about generative AI and its impact on marketing. make it 5 sections. So similar to the old product, you can tell Charlie how many sections you want. Now it caps out at 5 sections. Each section is around 500 to 600 words. But ultimately, you shouldn't really need more than that. If you need more words than that, then you're probably doing keyword stuffing, or you're not really following Google's guidelines for SEO. So I would recommend 5 sections at the top. Most of the time, you can get away with 3 or 4 and be perfectly fine. That's going to get you up to the 1,500 to 2,000 word blogs. We'll do 5 sections here just for the sake of time being. So then make it 5 sections. Use the keywords digital marketing, AI content creation, SEO, ChatGPT, Jasper, alternative, GoCharlie. Cool. So here's where you can drop in your keywords. I know many of you have way more keywords. This is a very simplistic version of this, but you can drop your keywords right into here. So if we compare and contrast this with the old UI kind of had you go through drop downs, put everything in, but it limited you on the number of keywords that you could put in. It limited you on having to choose the number of sections. It limited you on all these other things. Whereas now you can just write that all into one blog. You can write that into one prompt. It's super simple. It's more flexible. I understand the flexibility kind of removes some of the certainty, but all of that pays off in a big way in what we're about to run. So let's click enter here and let Charlie start going. Now, the first thing that you'll notice is that blogs take around 1 minute to 3 minutes. Why is that? First, we're not just streaming in some crappy content to you. We're not streaming in awful content that is unfactual, that hasn't been checked for plagiarism, hasn't been checked for grammar, hasn't been checked for SEO. So what Charlie's doing right now is a couple things. First, it's obviously understanding the task that you've given him, but then he's going out to the internet and performing his own SERP analysis. He's looking at the top links. He's looking at the top categories. And from there, he is identifying where are some opportunities for me to create content that will rank. Ultimately, he's then using that to drive keywords. He's using that to drive structure. He's using that to drive information that he's drawing from. He then goes back out to the web and researches information on your topic. So it brings sources back into the material. So anyone that is creating, you might want to be linking out to different websites, different things that you're creating with. You might even use a website URL as an input. Those things will all come through in the back end. All of it is to give Charlie more and more context so that ultimately the blog that you get out at the end will have performed its own SERP analysis, will have evaluated the proper keywords for you to utilize. It will have looked through all the top performing searches for that keyword and topic, and then will ultimately come back with this beautiful blog with sources highlighted. It's mentioning all the keywords. It's mentioning all of the capabilities that we walk through, and it looks, this is around 1,300 words, so pretty good. But if you're wanting to do longer blogs, we're quickly able to just make an edit here and say extend this by 200% or make this 2 times as long, and the AI will ultimately come back with that edit incorporated. If you've been following along, we also have something where if you highlight the text, you'll be able to run functions. Now, this is not live in the product for everybody just yet, but this is coming. But you'll be able to run functions inside the rich text editor for more localized edits. So instead of you having to make all of these things useful here and doing a global prompt edit here, you'll be able to make more localized edits simply by just highlighting the text and clicking, and then ultimately running a command. So let's talk a little bit then about like what this means for product philosophy, right? So stop sharing my screen, zoom it back out to me. So what we're doing with our product philosophy is, if you recall in many of your guys' feedback, it's, I'd like Charlie to be able to do this. I'd like Charlie to be able to do this. I'd like Charlie to be able to do this as part of the activities. We've distilled all of those tasks that would get to creating an end output into tooling in the back end of Charlie, so that Charlie will ultimately go and do those tasks to get you to your end product. Now, what you will notice about that process is some people have different processes. We've tried to choose the least common denominator process to get to a high quality, high fidelity output. So it's not going to be the same process for everyone. It's not going to be the delightful end product for every single person, but vast majority, it's going to solve what you need to complete a task. Blogs, we looked at having web research, having fact checking, having SEO, having a SERP analysis. We looked at all of these things ultimately in the back end to deliver you a blog that is high quality and can be posted right afterwards. We're doing the same thing for all the other types of content that we create. So for social media, we look at the structure. We look at what's the best thing that performs on each one of these platforms. And we bring that back into Charlie's capabilities. So if you're creating for different platforms, it's going to consider those platforms. It's going to consider your audience. It's going to consider your goals. All of that used to have to be in a prompt. Instead, now Charlie will just do that. The more that we start to layer in the knowledge of your business, which will come in future releases, Charlie's going to incorporate that knowledge of your business to ultimately then go and create. So this is just the early days. This is the least amount of information Charlie ever will have about you to be able to customize to your needs, your wants. He's already learning how you make edits. He's already learning how you want content to look and feel. So he's already getting better there. But then when we start to plug in the information about your business, we start to plug in the information about your customers, your target market, your products, all of that will start to come into play in a very interesting and meaningful way to get you to that ready to publish content. It takes a while to be able to build that context into an agent because an agent is very difficult. But I promise you, over time, Charlie continues to learn, continues to develop, continues to be your new best friend in this AI age. So with that, I will see if we have any questions in the audience. You guys got me for another couple minutes, but if not, we'll go ahead and end here. But hopefully that gives you some idea of the philosophy behind the product, how to work with blogs. We'll also be putting more and more tutorials on YouTube, and that'll be it. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for those that watched afterwards. More updates to come. And let's go, Charlie.